Hey friends, it's Simon Hurley and welcome to another video. Now today I'm continuing my life hack series and I'm going to show you a few more card making life hacks that I think you will really enjoy and will definitely benefit you as you're crafting. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Alright, so for the first life hack, let's talk about another trick using the MISTI stamping tool, but this time we're going to use it for stenciling. So I got my MISTI stamping tool here. This is the MISTI 2.0, and I'm just going to take my tool. I've got a piece of stark white cardstock that is cut to 6x6, and then I have a stencil. Now this is good for any stencils, but I especially like it with layering stencils where you need kind of to layer them up pretty quickly. So I'm going to place my cardstock in the corner here, and then I'll place my stencil down in the corner. You can see it's a little bit bigger than the stencil, but that doesn't really matter too much. And then we have it all laid down here, and we didn't have to use any adhesive since we used the magnet. Now I'll go in here with a little bit of ink on a blender brush. We're going to start off with a little bit of piggyback. And I'll just go into here and start off with my lightest color and blend it all throughout. And because it's in this corner, all I need to do is remove my magnet, lift off the stencil. There we have our ink blending already started. And then I'll bring in my next stencil, make sure that it's placed down into that corner, and then everything should line up pretty easily along with the cardstock. Here I'll use a little bit of rosy cheeks. And most layering stencils, when you line them up like this, should pretty much layer up nicely to create that look. When they are all lined up with the piece of cardstock, they should line up with your whole design, which is really awesome. So I'll go in and do the second layer. Once I'm done with that, I'll lift that one off. You can see everything is really beautifully lined up. And then I can go in with my third layer here, line that up in the corner, and then we'll finally go in with a little bit of Prom Queen, which is my darkest color, and ink blend that down. Alright, so once we've got this colored in, we can lift off our stencil, and there you can see the beautiful layers in our layering stencil starting to form. And that was all done just using the MISTI stamping tool. I like this especially because it's a magnetic surface, but also because it has this corner, it makes it super easy for everything to be able to line up. So with whatever size stencil you have, you can of course cut the paper to that size, and everything should line up pretty beautifully. This was a layering stencil from Altenew, but I'll link down to some of my favorite layering stencils as well down below. Alright, for this next hack, let's talk about adding glitter gel to your projects. So I'm going to share my favorite application for a glitter gel like this. So this is the Glitz glitter gel from Gina. I like this one because it's pretty much completely clear with a little bit of glitter in it, but of course there's lots of different other ones on the market as well. And I like to go in here with just a Ranger mini ink blending tool with actually the flat foam. I find that this is best for like paints and glitter gels and things like that. But of course you could try the domed foam as well. And I'm just going to go in here and kind of dip it in there. I'll tap it off on the side just to remove a little bit of that excess, and then you can easily go in over top of your stenciling or anything like that. So here I'm going to go in over top that layering stencil that we just did. This is a really easy application, and like if you sometimes struggle with palette knives or things like that, this might be your way to go. It applies a really thin layer down and kind of almost absorbs a little bit of that gel and keeps a lot of the glitter on the surface for kind of a mess-free glitter, which I really like. But also, you don't have to put on a super thick layer. It really is just as much as you want. By going in with this kind of dabbing motion, you're applying a lot of the glitter down and, like I said, kind of taking away some of that liquid. I wouldn't go in a blending motion, you're just gonna kind of wipe away any of that glitter that you're adding down. But then once we lift off our stencil, you'll see this beautiful shine on there. So I really love this. I like it because it adds just the thin layer of that glitter. So of course you can still see through it and see all of those amazing images underneath all that sparkle and shine. So besides it being really good through stencils, I also wanted to share that I like this because you can take a little bit of it on your sponge like that. And then if we wanted to, we can add this on the center of our projects, just starting right in the middle. And here I would use a little bit more of a swirling motion, but the thing that I love about this is you can kind of almost fade it out into the background and just create a little halo of sparkle in the center. So it's not like it's super textured, and it's really easy to fade out with the blending tool. So I just find this a lot easier to control than a palette knife or something like that. That's why I love it. Now this next tip is from Natasha Foot's YouTube channel. I'll link her down below. She's really inspiring, so be sure to check her videos out after this one. This is a great tip for ensuring that all of your card panels are adhered onto your card base really straight and perfect the first time. So I'm going to grab a little bit of Scor-Tape. This one is a pretty thin line Scor-Tape, and we'll look around it. This is the hardest part, is to find the end there. Let's say I was creating a card panel on this. I'm just going to take a little bit of the Scor-Tape and add it to all four sides of my card. Now yes, this part is a little bit more time consuming than just a regular tape runner or anything like that, but trust me, in the long run, this definitely helps by lining things up. Then when I go to remove the adhesive backer sheet, I'm just going to remove a little bit on all four sides. So here I'm just going to take the tab out, remove a little tiny bit of that release paper, and then fold it down onto itself outside of that card. So you should have something that looks a little bit like this, and then we can bring it to our card base and lay it down. And then you're going to want to look above your card and just make sure that everything is nice and lined up. Now, here's where you're going to hold your finger into the center. I didn't press any of these down yet, so if you notice something's a little bit awry, you can always move it around a little bit more. So once I think that I've got it nice and centered, I'll just double check it, and then we're going to hold down the corners that have the little bit of adhesive on it and peel back any of that adhesive. And as we're adhering this down, you just give it a little press on every side as you peel those out, and that should help you to make sure that you made the right decision as it's centered, and then you can peel all that out so that you're really sure once it's done. I know at the beginning lining up card panels and card bases was super difficult for me, so I hope that tip is helpful for you guys as well, and Natasha is really awesome for figuring that one out. So I'll link her channel down below again. She's got lots of inspiring videos. This next hack is really great for doing some masking and making sure that it's waterproof every time. So I'm going to use a little bit of mint tape. Now, this is some masking tape that's not going to rip your cardstock, so I really love it for that. I'm just going to place it on a little bit of an angle on my stark white cardstock here. We'll just place it down and then give it some good pressure along the edge where you want to make sure that it's waterproof. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. I just want to mask kind of a little line where I'm going to do some watercoloring on my card project today. I'm going to grab a couple of my Hurley Create inks and smoosh them down onto my craft sheet here. This is just creating a little bit of a watercolor palette for me to use. Then I'm able to go in with my paintbrush and a little bit of water and pick up my colors, and then we can start watercoloring this in. Now keep in mind, I'm not going in with a ton of water. I'm not sure how that would hold up, but if you go in with a little bit of water here, you can see I'm adding some to my brush and going throughout and watercoloring along the surface. You can see some water is pooling there, and I'll show you at the end, you get a really awesome result, even by adding this water on top. Now once that background is all dry, you're going to want to carefully peel up the tape. You're going to want to be careful, you should be careful pretty much with any masking tape, and we'll just kind of peel it along itself. That's another life hack in itself, is when you're using tape like this, just be extremely careful, go super slow, and peel it right back onto itself at kind of an angle like this, and then it shouldn't rip your cardstock at all, and you'll have a really awesome straight and perfect line that was completely waterproof. And there you have it, a really awesome straight line even with watercoloring on there. Like I said, I didn't expect this to work for that and be super waterproof just because of the kind of papery texture of it, but once I found out that it worked, I definitely got a couple more of these rolls, and I pretty much use it whenever I want to mask or die cut and make sure that my cardstock isn't gonna rip. Alright guys, this next hack is from Jennifer McGuire, and again, I'll link down her YouTube channel down below. I'm sure you guys know of her. She has tons of amazing card making tips and techniques, and she really comes up with some of the best ones. But today I loved this technique for getting a perfect sentiment in your paper trimmer, so that's what I'm going to be sharing today. So I'm going to use the Dudettes stamp set from Hurley Create, and I love the sentiment that says, "You are so much stronger than you think." So I'll add that down onto a sentiment acrylic block, and then I'm going to ink it up and go in and stamp it down onto my stark white cardstock. So I'll just apply a little bit of pressure and stamp it right at the edge of my cardstock. Alright, so the trouble is when you have your sentiment like this and you have your guillotine trimmer, this is my favorite one from Holtz and Tonic, when you place it into here, it's difficult to see exactly where that guillotine is going to cut on your cardstock. So one thing that Jennifer McGuire had shared is you can take a piece of colored cardstock and place it in, and I like to just press your finger right up to it to make sure that it's right at the cutting edge. And then you can go in here and slide your cardstock right into there. And in person it's really easy to see. I think you can see a little bit through there, that you can see that sentiment. You can line it up right with the edge there, and then you can pull it out, and whatever is showing beyond that colored cardstock is exactly where it's going to cut. So we can just line it up, make sure that it's going to cut exactly there, and then we will cut that cardstock down. And there you have a perfect sentiment strip that is lined up really amazing with that colored cardstock in there. This sentiment tip is definitely going to save me a lot of time and mistakes sometimes. When I'm trying to get just that little tiny sentiment strip and I want it to be exactly perfect, this has been a super helpful tip for me. Alright, I hope you guys found those tips super helpful and will use these tips and tricks in your everyday card making to help you out. Leave a comment down below which of the card making life hacks were your favorite from today's video, and if you have any extra hacks to share with me, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below to never miss another card making and crafting video like this one from me. Alright guys, I'll see you very soon. Have a great day. Bye!